This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Former President Donald Trump says that FBI agents raided his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. Jeff Murdoch and Dave Boyer report sources said the raid was related to a probe into whether the former president took classified documents from his White House tenure. The National Archives and Records Administration in February asked the Department of Justice to probe Trump's handling of White House records. The referral from the archives came after revelations that officials recovered 15 boxes of materials from the former president at Mar-a-Lago that were not handed back to the government as they should have been when he left office. Archives officials also alleged Trump had turned over other White House documents that had been torn up, raising questions about whether he destroyed government property. Trump's frequent tearing up of government documents was widely known during his presidency, but has drawn increased scrutiny because of the House Select Committee's investigation into the January 6th riot by his supporters at the U.S. Capitol. The Biden administration has pledged $1 billion worth of additional military equipment to Ukraine, the largest single offer of American firepower since the start of Russia's invasion almost 6 months ago. Mike Glenn reports the package includes more warheads for the high-mobility artillery rocket system and almost 100,000 rounds of artillery and mortar ammunition. Ukrainians say the munitions have helped turn the tide of battle in fierce fighting in the south and east. Officials said the latest round brings the total U.S. security assistance to Ukraine to $9.8 billion since the start of the Biden administration. Ukrainian officials say even more firepower is needed to hold off the bigger and better armed Russian forces. Democrats hope their sweeping $740 billion climate and healthcare package will energize their voters in November, while Republicans are predicting the opposite, that an inflation-weary electorate will vote against more government spending. The Senate passed President Biden's domestic priorities along party lines on Sunday, 3 months before the midterm elections. Ramsey Touchberry reports it prompted immediate jockeying by Republicans and Democrats to convince voters that the legislation is either wasteful spending that will exacerbate high inflation or historic legislation tackling climate change, costly health care, and tax cheats. Democratic strategist Brad Bannon sees no political downside to the bill, despite Republicans' portrayal of Democrats as caring more about tax credits for electric vehicles than the rising costs of everyday goods. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. India is on pace to surpass China next year as the world's most populous nation, a title China has held for centuries. Although poverty and overpopulation are likely to remain major challenges there, Guy Taylor reports the switch at the top of the world population rankings could dramatically boost India's stature on the global stage. Regional analysts generally agree that the development deserves careful attention for its short and long-term implications for the global pecking order. The UN's World Population Prospects 2022 report declared the world's population will reach 8 billion in mid-November and that India will overtake China sometime next year. And finally, former Vice President Mike Pence is squaring off against former President Trump in a proxy battle of their endorsed rival candidates in Wisconsin's gubernatorial Republican primary. Susan Ferricchio reports Pence is backing former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch, and Trump has endorsed construction company owner Tim Michels. An Emerson College poll last week showed Kleefisch with a 2 percentage point lead within the poll's margin of error. Wisconsin is a battleground state that will likely play an important role again in the 2024 presidential election. The high-profile primary is among several contests on Tuesday. Voters will also go to the polls in Vermont, Connecticut, and Minnesota. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app. And follow us on any major podcast platform. Just search Washington Times wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.